In this video, we'll be looking at some calculations with dates and times. So the date system in Excel starts at the 1st of January 1900, and the dates are actually stored as number values. So even though I've got the date 1st of January 1900, if we convert that to a number format, you'll see it shows as 1. So every date after that is just assigned the next number. So if we take today's date and convert that to a number, you see it's 43,990 since 1900 or 101. The date formats that Excel chooses automatically are based on your computer date settings, so it may be a different order depending on what your computer is set up to do. If you want to ensure that Excel is going to take the date correctly when you type it in, easiest way to do that is to ensure that you type in the full month and year. Otherwise, for instance, it will automatically assign this year when you might not have meant that. So if we say then you'll see it also picks the format for you, but you can adjust that just by setting there. For instance, change it to short date. If I just wrote 6/20, it'll pick up 20 June, but as you can see here, it's put in 2020. So it depends what you are wanting to do with your dates. When you're entering times, as long as you type a semicolon, then Excel will realize that it's a time. And if you just type the hour and the minutes, then it will always put 0 as the seconds. And if it's if you use 12-hour clock, Excel will assume that you mean AM. Otherwise, if you want it to be 11 PM, for instance, you would need to put in the 24-hour amount. Times in Excel are stored as fractions of a day. So if I take the 6 AM and convert it to a number, then it's 0.25, so it's a quarter of the way through the day. If we had something like and that should be 3/4 through the day, which it is. So because of the way that Excel has stored these, it means that we can do some calculations on those. So we're first going to look at date calculations, and then we'll look at time calculations. So there's several calculations we can do with dates. So the first one is the day function, which literally just takes the word day, and then you put in a serial number. So if you put in a date, for instance, then we'll tell you what day of the month it is. It's the 8th. If you put in the month function, it will tell you the month of that date, so 6 for June. And then if you put in the year, it will simply tell you the year of that date. So whatever the case may be. If you want to know how many days are between two dates, then you literally can use the days function, and you can put in the end date and then the start date, and you'll get the number of days. You can also do this as a little formula instead. So you can just say the end date minus the start date, and you'll get the same result. Finally, we've got the date function, which lets you insert a day, a month, and a year, like I've got here, and all it will do is return a date. If you want to do something more complicated, so maybe we want to know what the date will be in 20 years, then you can simply add numbers onto them, do calculations, and so on. So those are your basic date functions there. If you want to do some calculations more than just a few days, you can use the days function to calculate the the number of days between two larger dates. So in this case, between today and a date in 2001. Of course, that gives you a large number. So what you can then do is divide it by 365.25, which will approximately give you how many years it's been since that date. And then you can, for instance, work out people's ages that way. You could remove the decimal points or use the rounding function to hide those decimal points to get some more useful results than 7,400 days. For time calculations, you've got the same sort of thing as the dates. So you've got times that are stored like this, and if you type them in without the final semicolon, then it will just put 00 seconds. If you want to know how many or what the hour is of your time, then it's just equals hour, and the minutes is equal minutes. Equals minute, should I say, and equals second for the number of seconds in that particular time that you give it. The time function will simply, just like the date function, give it hour, minute, and second, and it will tell you or give you the time again. And just like with the dates, you can subtract one time from another, and if you want to know, for instance, here I've calculated 2:30 from 11:15, which gave us 3:15, which doesn't make that much sense, but if you convert it to a number, it doesn't make that much sense either. If you multiply then by 24, then it tells you it's okay, it's 3 1/4 hours, which may be more useful.